So, an incredibly common question I get is, how do I get my game to look how it does? What mods am I using? How do I install them? How did I modify some of those mods to get them in different positions or change some of the way these mods individually look? And the way I do it is through Aslain's mod. You can use Modstation, it automatically keeps things updated each patch, where Aslain's mod does not. You have to re download it each time. But we go over here on the aslain.com here and into the World of Warships section. And there's always going to be at the very top here the mod pack download link. It's going to be updated quite often. There's several small patches here and there that add new mods that are guaranteed to work. Sometimes, if you initially download this right after a new patch comes out, you'll notice there's a lot of mods missing, and that's primarily down to them not being verified, or maybe they were broken by the new patch. So there's a little bit of waiting, and there's just not quite the streamlined experience that you get with Modstation. However, there are more interesting options in Aslain's mod, and that is why I choose to use it. So very simply, I click download link number 2. That'll start the download from their servers, and I tend to ignore the torrented link. Once that's downloaded, I'll just open it up. There's going to be a Windows Defender prompt, and I think that's just because this is not a recognized developer by Microsoft. It is, after all, a small community-driven effort by Aslain to add these mods to World of Warships. So just go more info and run anyway. There will be an administrator prompt. I don't think you're going to see this since OBS won't be recording that, but just say yes, and then we'll get to the welcome screen here. Setup language, for me, English, pretty basic. And like I said, this does take a lot of effort and time by Aslain, and potentially some people help him. I don't actually know, but there is a way to donate to him via PayPal, as you can see here. So if you are liking this mod pack and you want to help him out, you can send some money his way. Now that we're into the actual mod pack, it's very, very important to show preview window here. This is crucial so that you can mod your game how you want to. I don't necessarily just want to show you how to do it exactly my way, since it's totally up to you. There's ways to customize it to make it exactly how you want to. And this preview window is very important. Now we'll go next, and there's a README page here. You can look at some more information. But the important thing here is, once we get through these screens, is to select your install location for the game you want to mod. Since the launcher makes a new folder for each type of game you have installed, there's an NA one, there's one for each server, and then the public test server as well. So make sure you're selecting the right folder that you want to modify. We'll click next, and that will bring us to the mod selection page. And here is why we checked that box. There is an image preview window, which is crucial. And you can see here, it shows exactly what the mod is going to look like in-game. Now, some of these look a little bit different than what they can look like in-game. For example, this is the side panels I use, but there's a mod in-game or a selection in-game that allows me to change what the bars look like to silhouettes of the ship type, which I personally like. And all the way through here, you're going to notice that there are tons and tons and tons of different ways to mod the game out, and they all look very, very different. There's ways to get a lot of information, and sometimes it just clutters things up. So I haven't modded too much, but there's some very useful mods in here, and you can just look through them all, and there will be an image preview for each one. And I'd really recommend you look at it and try and find the ones that you like the best. Just quickly to go through mine right now, you'll notice I'm using the Smart Horizon crosshair still. This is still what I'm using all these years, I guess, after that aiming video I put out. I still find it to be incredibly useful. And my favorite dynamic crosshair. I just use the white ones since I don't really like having different colors in there. I find it just looks a little cleaner with white. And then font size 12, and then white again. There's a lot of different options, as you can see. Camera mods I used to use a lot of, and since Wargaming is looking at putting in new camera controls for the base game, I got a feeling some of these camera mods won't be as useful in the future. But if you're still looking to modify where the camera is positioned around your ship, there are still really good ways to do that. To get the ribbons looking like the World of Warships Legends ribbons, it's this one specifically here, ribbons 2, but there's a lot of options. You can see there's a variety of ways to modify the way the ribbons look. I just like these kind of minimal ones that come from World of Warships Legends. Minimap, I am still using Minimap by Autospy. Battleframe is back, but this one comes and goes, and Autospy seems to always be here, and I've been able to change some of these in-game settings to get it exactly how I want it. There's a lot of useful mods too for in the port here. This camouflage filters, if you've got a lot of camos like me, this allows you to filter them all by what kind of XP gains you want to get, and it's very, very useful for sorting through some of the bad camos to get to the really good ones. Also using vertical all ships in tech tree, allowing me to look at some ships that I don't actually own, but maybe I just want to preview or show them, and maybe take a look at the armor viewer, that kind of thing. Here's the server population and resources mod. This is how I get the coal and steel to be shown in port. And again, there's a ton of mods in here, and I will be changing all the time how mine look. So I will leave a link in the description below to my Discord, and there is a current mods text channel in the Discord where I upload a text file that the Aslain's mod installer actually outputs, and I'll upload that for each update, assuming I remember, for my current mods, and then you can just look at that text file and see exactly what I'm doing in the current patch. Battle Expert version 2 is actually the navigator update, I guess, that I'm using, and I'll show you exactly how to modify that to show it in the bottom left corner. I've actually changed the location of that just using a simple text editor. Not too complicated, but there is some trial and error there, so I'll go over how to do that later. I also have my consumables from World of Warships Legends. I like the look of that art style, I guess, so that's what I've gone with here as well. There's, of course, a lot of different options as well. As we're scrolling down, I really, really recommend you just check out this mod selection page and go over them for yourself. Find the things that you like, and I'm sure what you're going for will be different from myself, and that's great. The ability to change things like this is a really cool way to customize the game to your liking. Now here you can see an FPS limiter, or more likely an unlocker. I feel like most people want a few more frames than 75 FPS, so you can go all the way up to 144 here. This will just put into the system config file what frame rate you're going for. You can always do that manually yourself, but this is a really easy way to do it with each patch in this mod pack. So once you've selected the mods you want, we're just going to go next. And of course, make sure you have it checked to always remove previous mods from the game. This will give you the cleanest install, and you won't have any conflicting mods and shouldn't have any bugs or launcher issues, that kind of thing, as long as you're doing this. If you're installing some applications from this mod pack, there's some matchmaking monitors, there's some other ones as well that I currently don't use, but if you do and you want a shortcut on the desktop, you can do that as well. Going next, we will install, and then we just have to wait for it to download a little bit extra information after it extracts this, and there we go. All finished, and that's it for the Aslain's mod. Now it will be applied as soon as you boot up the game. Now to change the position of the Battle Expert mod, it's a little complicated, but here in the World of Warships directory, we're going to go into bin. We're going to go to the more recently modified file here. This is the more recent mod update. And we're going to go to res mods. We're going to go to GUI, and then we're going to go to Unbound 2. Then we're going to go to Autospy, and then we'll find Battle Expert. And then here we'll see an unbound file. Now, all you have to do is right click on it, and then you go to Open With, and Notepad works just fine. So I'll open it with Notepad, and this is what we'll get. It's pretty intimidating if you're not used to going into some of these coding files, but it's not a big deal since all we need to do is look at these two lines right here, X offset and Y offset. So this is just straight pixel offsets from the, I believe, center of the screen for where Battle Expert shows up. You're going to have to do some trial and error for your screen, but I'll show you what works for mine. So for myself, I actually just saved a separate text file here for my offset that actually worked for me after doing a ton of trial and error. So I'll open that up and you can see I just copied over this offset here. And this is what worked for my 4K monitor at 150% scaling. So if I just copy this over and paste it in here, it is that easy. Now I'll just make sure to save this file so that it actually applies, and then it's good to go. It's going to show up in the bottom left of my screen now. So now that we've done that, we can open up the game and all of the mods will be applied. And here we are. We've made it to port, and you can see the mods have all been applied. I've got my port mods, I go to exterior here, click on camouflage, and look at camouflage filters are here. I've applied the mods that I want to. But if you really want to fine tune the in-game mods and you don't want to go into a random battle, obviously, to do that, here's what you do. You run over here to training battle, and then you just create yourself a new training battle. It's just going to be you. You can go to really any map you want to. I've got Ocean with the Super Test Armor Resiliency here, and I'll show you why. It's mainly to test different angles and different shot selection, that kind of thing. This is just what I have as default, but you can really do this in any map. So once we get into the game here, now you have plenty of time with zero pressure, no in-game that you have to pay attention to, and you can look at all the different mods that you have and set them up exactly how you'd like. So I think most of you know, if you push control, you get a cursor, and you can move around a lot of these. So here's the health regen assistant. I can move this around wherever I want to in-game. You'll notice the battle expert is down here exactly how I want it to be. And again, that works out exactly how it does, assuming you're running a 4K monitor at this 150% resolution scale. You'll also want to keep in mind that some of these mods you won't be able to see, like the side panels mods, unless you actually click display team lineups and activate them, essentially. The crosshair, of course, is in the dynamic section and smart horizon. And you'll notice that even though I have display team lineups on, I actually don't see them. And that's because there's this little cog up here that gives you some settings, and I actually have show panels unchecked. And this is where I have the ability to change the way these panels actually look. So here we see stripes versus silhouettes. So I like the silhouettes look a little bit better, and you can change exactly all the settings here. Anything you want to, you can customize it. This, of course, is why I really like the Ocean Super Test Armor Resiliency, since I can have all these ships lined up in a line, and they just continue on in a line left and right. And I could test out different ranges, different shots, different angles, that kind of thing, all in a training battle. Of course, the Auto Spy minimap is incredibly customizable, so you can do a ton of different stuff. There's really too much here, I would say. But for myself, I like a little bit of a clean look on the map. So I turn off a lot of the information on default. So yeah, I want to see how my detection is by air. Turn it on for holding Alt, turn it off for default. So it cleans things up just a little bit. And then when I hold Alt, suddenly I get that information, and then it goes away when I don't need to. Cleans it up a little bit. If you're looking to see how I got my map this size, and potentially even bigger, I'll just show you an example here. Yeah, you can make it as big as you want to. If you want to know how to do that, I do find it is a little bit useful for leading those really long targets in a battleship to increase the size. All you do is go to Adjust Minimap, and then Additional, and then you go into Zoom Steps right here. So you click this, and you'll notice these Zoom Steps come up at the bottom. And if I go Control Plus, for example, to increase the size, you'll see exactly what it switches to. So I can change this on the fly, but it's much easier to do this in a training battle and no pressure of a game, and you can really fine tune it exactly how you'd like. If you find the battle expert isn't exactly where you'd like it, then all you have to do is back out of the game, completely close it down. You can't have it running. since it's something that initializes when the game boots up, and then go back into that text file, change the numbers around, move it exactly where you want it. It'll take a lot of trial and error. I think it took me 5 or 6 attempts to get it into the bottom corner there exactly, so that it doesn't clip below the screen, it doesn't clip into the my ship here and its HP. It'll take some time, but it's definitely worth doing, and I really do like the way this looks. So that's a quick guide on how to install Aslain's mod pack for World of Warships. And remember to check the link below for the Discord, and you'll find a text channel again there with my current mods list as a text file output by Aslain's mod. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.